Hi, it's Diana. I'm just giving an update, so this is going to be a shorty. Um, my granddaughter, good news, my granddaughter's going to be a junior weather girl at the Wichita News Channel 3 on Monday night on the news at 6:30 or 6, I'm thinking 6 o'clock. Be there at 6 o'clock instead of 6:30. That way you're safe. And you won't miss it. But that's my granddaughter Athena. She's my youngest grandchild. I'm so proud of her. And let's see. Well, I got my lab report back. I didn't get it from my doctor. It was on my chart, and there was only two problems with it out of it, and one was my potassium, and one is chloride. Yeah, chloride. I didn't know it, but you lose a lot of salt when you sweat, and every night I sweat a lot. It's like it's not menopause, just because of my medications that I'm going through a lot of sweat. But I have been really sick for the last 2 months, and I've been confused. I'm falling backwards a lot. Um, but you know, it's a lot, and I can feel my heart beat and feel the pillow shake. That's how bad it is. I'm tired a lot. I mean, really tired, and my body aches, my muscles ache just walking and things. And I thought, well, maybe I'm just melting away and breaking down and everything. And then when I went to do my labs, I found that my I watched it because it don't hurt bother me to watch my blood being drained out of me. So they got those four test tubes out of me, and it squirted in it like water. Yeah, it was like water that went right into the tube, but it wasn't thick like blood. It was watery. It was real water, and it was like just suck that stuff right out of my body, and it was pretty red. But I was amazed. I see my psychiatrist on Monday, and that's for my, he's going to work with, he's the one that does my pills and everything. So I'm going to let him know of all these things, and he's going to get my test results because I always get my doctors in the same community of Advent Health over there, and their computers are all connected. So when they're connected like that, it just takes the doctor to pull up my chart, and he sees everybody else's what's going on too. He can look in and get the messages off of the other doctors and seeing what they might say. But she took me off of my high blood pressure pill because it was only 106 over 60 something. No, yeah, 106 over 60 something. And I'm usually low like that. So she says, I want you off of it because you don't need it. You're at the lowest dosage anyway. And it was like a 1.25 milligram. And that's fine with me. That's one less pill. But I got the feel. And so I couldn't understand what is that chloride, chloride is why my chloride is below the normal level. And so I looked it up, and one of the reasons is because of sweating. And I'm losing a lot of this chloride out of my system comes out of my sweat, and I'm not replenishing it. And I went 2 whole months without doing that. I didn't know. Nobody told me about that. I don't take salt in my foods, and I just barely put salt on food. And if I do, and I don't put salt on my food most of the time, um, but I wasn't replenishing the loss of salt in my system, that chloride came right out of my body during the night, and I was miserable. Would pass out when I'm trying to walk through the room, get nauseous, almost faint, and I was thought I was really, something was really wrong. And I did tell the doctor that because she's trying to talk to me, and I'm just telling her I'm sorry, but I'm confused. I feel confused, and I don't know what to think. And that's, she had that tested and find out that my potassium, because I'm losing potassium as well. So I jacked up. I didn't jack up, but because you can really get sick for taking too much potassium. And so she checked all my, like, six to eight different tests on that blood that she took out. And so those were the only two problems, was my chloride. And I go, and I had to look it up on YouTube. So if anybody's interested, look it up on YouTube. It really plays a number on your heart. It plays a number on your brain because it shrinks your brain. It shrinks your heart. It doesn't bind anything in your blood. So you cannot, so my blood was super, super watery. And that's what happens. It makes your blood liquefy, real real watery like that. And I go, that's everything that's going on with me is that chloride. But I went 2 whole months without taking any salt intake, and enough to replenish my body. And so it really jacked me up. But it can't be fixed overnight. No. I see my psychiatrist next week. I got the feeling that I'm not low, on that salt, that chloride thing. I'm below normal. I'm not the low normal. I'm below normal, but I'm higher on the below normal thing, because they go like 1 to a certain number, and then it goes into normal range. Well, that certain number, I'm below that, just below that. And so it did show up on my charts, and I looked it up. And so if I rattle on and kind of act confused and everything, that's because I lost a lot of that chloride from my system for the last 2 months. And it's made it makes you very fatigue, and nauseous, and sometimes it gives you diarrhea, but I don't have that. I have constipation. I'm going to have to get that fixed before I go in to get my colonoscopy. I don't want to surprise the doctor. But he did give me a 10-year span last time because I looked pretty good down there, best, I guess. I didn't have the polyps like my mom did. She had like 3 polyps in her and they had to be removed. Um, and but anyways, I just wanted to give a short update, and I do research on myself, when it comes to, I look at my charts and I see what's the problem. I try to fix it, but the thing is that I didn't know for 2 whole months. I just know that, I just looked it up today about that chloride because I looked at my chart just today. So I did. And if I get headaches, it says, and this doctor that's on YouTube, he says, if you get a sudden headache, lick some salt off the palm of your hand. Just put some on your hand and just lick it right off. If you and get some, if you see a bodybuilder, they intake a lot of salt before they work out, and that's what that doctor said too. He says they take in a lot of salt before they work out because it will come out of your pores. And it's got to be replenished so that it can bind your blood. It can fix your brain because your brain shrinks because of it. It's like the electrolytes are not connecting, and that's why you're confused, but your brain does shrink because of it. And your heart shrinks too. It's because it don't got the water. Got the salt in there that it needs. Your body needs the mineral. But not the sea salt, because that doctor said sea salt is polluted. It's polluted with plastic pollutants. But if you get that salt that's from the ground, which we always did anyway, the table salt, and I just get the plain table salt, but that is pure salt, and that is called. So whenever somebody says you need pure salt, you need that plain salt, not the iodine salt, the iodized salt. That's for people really for with their thyroids, but I don't have a thyroid. That they said uh, pure salt is what they want you to have, and plain water don't cut it. You have to have some salt intake. It used to be that you should not have to take any. You shouldn't. You have to watch your salt growing up, but then at you get older like us. It don't. You have to get that salt back into you because we've been trained not to take in salt. And so you say it's bad for your health, but it's not really. You have to have so much salt in your body to replace the sweat that you had lost because you lost your salt through your sweat. And it's hand in hand. That chloride go hand in hand with the salt, that sodium. So if you don't have the sodium, you don't get that chloride that you need out of the mineral. But you have to have that chloride in your system to bind everything and get your brain to function, your heart to work. It collapses your lungs. It does a thing number to your pancreas. It does a whole number of things if your body shuts down. And I have been going through that for 2 months, and that's why it's really hard for me to get things done around here because my thighs would ache, my calves would ache just walking through the house. And then by the time I get lightheaded, like I'm going to pass out, um, I get confused. I really do. And I can't even remember what I ate for breakfast the day before the morning. So, and it's not dementia. It is because my electrolytes in my brain wasn't connecting because there was no sodium. That's what, that, chloride. I mean, I don't have the chloride in there, and that's what you need to connect to have that electrolytes going on in there. So you need those electrolytes functioning, but if you don't got the chloride, you don't. It brings down as I said, it just shrinks your brain, and so it messes with your thoughts and everything else. So I can see a lot of people being confused, and then because they're not taking in the salt. Don't take sea salt. I never took sea salt. It made my lips trap really bad and make me real bad dry mouth. Sea salt did. So I never took it in. But it wasn't until today that they told you. It tells you right there on YouTube. There's a doctor I always watch because he's a medical doctor. And he explains it in my language to what's going on because I can't understand scientific words. He has to explain it in a way where I can understand. And he says that sea salt is polluted. And because of the plastic pollution is in with the salt. The pure salt is straight from the ground. And there's nothing contaminating it down there. And so, but they try to hype it up. In fact, it's supposed to be cheaper to get the sea salt. And if you pay a lot for it, boy, you're just getting a lot of that pollutant in your body. I'm not into that. I look at fish poo in my water. I wouldn't want to have salt that had fish poo in it. Oh my. Well, anyways, this is the shorty I'm giving you today. It's just an update. Okay. But yeah, it is physical and mentally what I'm going through is because of that. And we'll just see what my doctor talks about on Monday, my psychiatrist, and what his plans for me are. I just follow the course, whatever they send me on. Alrighty, this is late. I'm in bed again, and that's because my legs hurt. And I got, as I said, I had a fractured ankle. It's nothing but a big ball of arthritis now, but it swells up. And so I have to get off of it. And I don't have fattiness, the fatty padding underneath my feet. So that can be really hard to walk on. I have to be very careful. And as I said, I fell backwards on this bed just 2 days ago. Let's see. And then the next day, I fell backwards. Yesterday, I fell backwards on the sofa. Just stood there and then suddenly fell backwards. I don't know why, but I'm going to tell the doctor that too. So, anyways, here I see. There's my anyways. I just want to give you an update. And y'all have a good night. Don't forget to say your prayers. And like and subscribe. I don't have any friends. If you look at my videos, there's not very many on there. So just hit the like button for me. Just give me a smile. Thanks. Good night.